Hi everybody, welcome back. Oh my gosh, I've been gone for a little over a week. So we did go off on holiday and I really did collect a couple of things during the holiday time that will be coming up in videos. So look out for that. But welcome back. Today we are going to be making the t-shirt that I'm wearing. So wherever you are, I don't know what it's like, but I know that the heat is on in some places. So go ahead, put in the comments for me where you are and what the temperature is like. It is hot, so the summer heat is on. And of course, a really cool, refreshing watermelon goes a long way. So today we are going to be making this rhinestone watermelon, and we are going to be doing it as it says in the title, in Cricut Design Space. So we're not creating this in Silhouette Studio Business Edition and transferring it to Cricut Design Space. We are creating the entire template in Cricut Design Space using my 8x8 grid. So this is an 8x8 grid for SS10 rhinestones, and it's a hat, guys. So let's not delay. Let's jump over into Cricut Design Space, and I'm going to show you exactly how to use my free 8x8 grid to create this template. So we are going to get an SVG from Creative Fabrica, and we are going to take all those parts of that SVG and we are going to create the rhinestone templates. So let's go. So we're in Cricut Design Space, and if you have seen the first video with the 8x8 grid, or you have downloaded the free 8x8 grid from my PayHip store, we're going to use that. So I do have a 12x12 grid on my PayHip shop, so you can purchase that, but the 8x8 is free, and we are going to use the free grid today. So this is the file that you are going to bring into Canvas. So this black box that you're seeing is the original 8x8 box that I created the grid from. You can go ahead and hide that. And we are just interested in using this 8x8 grid. So if you take a look at the grid, it is 17.27 by 18.115. We cannot use it at this size. It will not give us the whole size for SS10 rhinestones. So for this to work for SS10 rhinestones, we need to come up here to size, and we need to change the width to 8.2, and that will bring it down to the correct size. It will adjust the height. So we need it to be 8.2 by 8.6. And this is the grid. So when you open the file, you get the grid and the black box. Just go ahead and hide the black box. We don't need it. It was just a part of that SVG file. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring our watermelon in. So the watermelon was an SVG file that I got from Creative Fabrica, and this is where I absolutely love to go and get my SVGs, my PNGs, whatever graphics and fonts. If you've never used Creative Fabrica, there is a link in the description if you are interested in trying it out for free. All right. So let's go over to our uploads, and here's a watermelon that we are going to be using. So we're just going to click on that and bring it onto Canvas. All right, so here is our watermelon, and we are going to go ahead. Remember, we have an 8x8 grid, and so we can go ahead and size this up to fit into that grid. All right, so let's go ahead and locate the grid. Okay, so here's my grid. So let's bring the grid over so we can use that. That's my grid. And we're going to go ahead and we are going to size this, put it onto the grid and bring it up to the size that we would like. And once we have sized it, that is it. We cannot change the size once we started to create the rhinestone grid. All right. So we're gonna size it to, that looks good, 7.79 by 3.9. So this is what we're gonna size it to. I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate it. So I'm duplicating this so that I can have this as a reference. So as I am doing the little tweaks to my rhinestone grid, I will have this as a reference point. All right, so let's go ahead and click on this one again, and we are going to ungroup it. So it's an SVG and we want all the pieces separated. So let's go ahead and select the different pieces. I'm going to start off by selecting this green section here. Is we're going to position our melon skin, this arc right here, and we're going to position it in such a way that it is covering as many circles as possible, whole circles. So let's bring it up so that we can cover these two on top. We want to minimize the number of half circles that we're going to have. So it's going to be a little bit tricky because this is not very wide. It is a lot easier when we're doing the actual melon itself, but because this is a little bit skinny, it's a little bit harder. Now, if you're going to create this in something like Silhouette Studio, the business edition, it might be a little bit easy. So remember, this is a hack, and so we are going to need to do some playing around. But as it is, let's go ahead and turn this shape into a rhinestone template. So we're just gonna, so we have our arc selected. So we're just gonna go ahead and press shift and click on the rhinestone grid. And then we're gonna come over here to slice. Okay, so the slice is complete. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna shift our rhinestone template out of the way, and we're going to delete the pieces of the slice that we don't want. So we have these three pieces. We don't want this green one, and we don't want this. We want this one. These are the holes that we are going to cut. As you can see, we have a lot of tiny pieces of circles. We don't want that. We need to actually delete those. All right. So wherever you have a half a circle or a little piece of a circle, we need to delete them. All right. So in order to delete them, let's go over into contour. So of course you can contour this away in two ways. You can do your contouring using this panel here, or you can contour them away right here on the screen to capture these little teeny tiny ones that we can't see. So we just need to click on these and they will contour them away. So as I am clicking on them, you might see these pieces, like for example, this one starting to disappear from our circle here, from our arc, I should say. If you know a faster way to get rid of these, go ahead and leave a comment. I would love to know. But right now this is the fastest way. You can click on them here, but for these teeny tiny ones, it's easier to see them from the panel. So as we remove these, we are going to go ahead and put back full circles in the space of some of these. We might not replace all of them, but we will replace some of them. And I'm going to show you, don't go anywhere, I'm going to show you exactly what's the best way to do that. So if you're looking on the panel here, you'll see that all of these teeny ones, they are going away here. So as you can see, we're missing quite a bit. And so this we're using as a reference to help us to put back circles where they should be. So let's go ahead and replace some of our circles. So let's grab a circle. Now, for an SS10, one of these circles should be 0.123 inches. All right. Let's bring that here, and we are going to duplicate this a couple of times. All right. So let's grab those. Select them, group them. Let's group these. bring them over here, and then we are going to duplicate this lot. All right, let's bring them over. And we will ungroup. So let's go ahead and ungroup this set, and we're just going to bring them into position. I'm telling you, this is the hardest one to deal with for this design. So we just wanted to replace a few of these. It took a little doing, but it got done. So we're gonna move this over here so that we can keep that. So I have this extra one. So let me just go ahead and fit that one right here. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and grab all of these. Let me fix this one. Go ahead, that looks better. Just gonna grab all of these, and I'm going to weld them together. Okay, so our melon peel is done. It's all welded together. So we can set that aside to cut. Okay, so let's go back to our grid. So we're gonna move our watermelon peel. Yeah, all right. We're gonna move our watermelon peel over here. And then we are going to grab the watermelon and we're going to come back into the grid. And we want to set the grid again in such a way that we capture at least all the top circles. We capture as many of them as possible. Okay, we've selected the watermelon. Let's select the grid. Let's go ahead and slice. Okay, so again, let's set our grid to the side, separate these, and keep only what we need. So we don't want this piece, and we don't want this piece. We just want the part for the holes. So of course, the next step we're going to take is to contour. Let's go ahead and contour this one. This one is pretty well set. We don't have that much to replace. I do see where I think we're going to need to. Now that we're zoomed up, I think we're going to replace these few at the bottom here. That's it. If we feel like it, we might replace one or two. We'll replace this one on the corner. We'll replace that one, this one, but we don't have a lot that we're going to be replacing. So let's go ahead. And as I said, we can go ahead and hide them right here. So these tiny ones, it's easier to try to hide them using the panel. Let's go ahead and hide them. Is looking pretty good. All right, that's looking pretty good. Um, let's go ahead and put back the ones we said we wanted to put back. I did take a snapshot. With my phone of the ones I wanted to put back. It's just easier that way. So we're going to go and get these ones again. Let's zoom up. Let's zoom up to make it easier. All right, that looks good. We're going to contour this one more time when we get to our seeds. Actually, before we do, I think before we replace it, let's go ahead and put our seeds in. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's position our watermelon seeds. So we're not going to cut the watermelon seeds out of the grid. We're just going to slice it directly out of the watermelon slice. So let's go ahead and do that because while I'm going to do some replacements, we are going to do some replacements here as well, because we are going to cut the seed, we're going to slice the seeds from here. So let's position it in such a way that we are covering as many as we can. One. All right, that looks good. So we have that selected. So let's select this portion and let's slice so that we do our replacements one time. We're going to do our replacement once. Okay, so we have to slice the seeds away. We have to slice them away, because when we go to put in our seeds, um, we don't want rhinestones sitting on top of each other. All right, so we don't want this. Yeah, we don't want this one, and we don't want this. So we're gonna need to contour each of these again before we do our replacements. So let's go ahead and contour this again. We're back. All right, everything looks good. Let's go ahead and do our last bit of contouring. So let's click on our, let's click on our seeds. Let's come over to contour, and let's get rid of all of this. So this is our last bit of contouring. I know this looks tedious, but you do have a few set of tedious steps when you are doing it in Silhouette Studio as well. But let me know, what do you think about this? Some designs will be a little bit more complicated than others. So this is really for pretty simple designs, but I just want to show you that you can apply it to something a little bit more complicated. Let's take this, and we're just going to come all the way up here and fit that in. Let's just fit it in. That looks very good. So all we're going to do, putting in our black dots, is going to be very easy, because we're just filling in the gaps. We're just filling in the spaces. All right. All right. So let's move this. And we're just going to go ahead and select these. And we are going to weld them. All right. We're going to weld these together. All right. So we've got those. We can position them. Yeah, that looks about right. Still have some hair that we wanted to replace, if you remember. So let's go ahead and add a few more to the watermelon, and then we're finished. We're completely finished after that. Just a few around the edges. Okay, so that looks good. So I am going to take away, I'm going to remove this, and then I'm just going to select everything here, and I'm going to weld it. right, so let's select the colors. This is gonna be, that's that. Let's make this one black. Let's go ahead and put that in right there. Looks good. And let's get our green. Okay, here we are. This is it. Our green. And let's bring this right in here. All right, so here is our watermelon rhinestone template. Go ahead and let me know what you think about our rhinestone template build inside of Cricut Design Space. I think this rhinestone template could use a little bit more work. So perhaps I could put one more stone right here, one more right at this point, and another one at this point here to represent these more pointed edges. So we could go ahead and put those in. But essentially, this is how you would use the 8 by 8 grid to convert an SVG right in Cricut Design Space. Okay, so there you have it, guys. This is how I have used my 8 by 8 grid to create our rhinestone templates in Cricut Design Space. So don't forget, there's a link in the description to my PayHip store where you can download the free 8 by 8 grid. And if you want to go larger, I have a 12 by 12 grid. You need to purchase that one. And so as you can see behind me on my magnetic whiteboard, I have all of my Rhinestone Genie templates stacked right there. And so in addition to using the Cricut Design Space when I want a super quick design, I just grab these behind me. So I hope this was good for you. If it was, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I really hope that for persons who don't have Silhouette Studio, this can work for you. Please leave me a comment. If you want to see me do a few more tutorials inside of Cricut Design Space, go ahead and leave that in the comments as well. I will be so happy to do it. So thanks again. If you have not subscribed as yet, please consider doing so. Bye bye, and I'll see you in the next one.